Hello again, creeps. Today we are going to be working on the Hayley Williams Paramore Valentine, and as you can see here, I have a song quote printed and Hayley's face. So we'll start with this really glittery, very pretty heart paper. I'm going to do the same method as always, where I measure out 4x6, and this Valentine will not be getting a background to it, so it's just going to be this paper. So as you can see, I'm making my tick marks for the 4 inches and the 6 inches before I draw my lines. Remember that if you are trying to fit your Valentine into an envelope, you want to make sure that you plan properly for your Valentine. As you saw in the last video with the Brendan Urie Valentine, I ended up adding a background to it to create borders around the floral image in Brendan. So I did not account for size as I should have, but this is only if you want to put your Valentine in an envelope, and luckily this one should fit in an envelope that takes 4x6 letters. So we're just being extra careful with the Xacto knife, using the straight edge to help guide us along the lines that we drew. I don't always have the precise hand, so here I'm just tweaking it up a little bit, making sure I have all the edges straight. And there you have it, the 4x6 card, which is the base to our Valentine. So you can orient your Valentine either way. I chose the vertical as opposed to the horizontal this time because it looks like she's kind of screaming up, and it just worked for all the additions that I have to it besides Hayley. So we'll grab the Tacky Glue and distribute it a little bit across Hayley, but then we'll be using a paintbrush to make sure it gets all the edges. As I've said before in another DIY video, using a paintbrush to spread out the glue really helps distribute it to prevent wrinkles in the image. And we're using Tacky Glue for this surface because it is a glittered paper, so the texture is different, and Mod Podge wouldn't be quite as strong as Tacky Glue to hold Hayley down. So I'm lining her up at the bottom edge of my 4x6, pressing her down and securing her, and there she is. Now next up is the quote. I took the quote from her song Still Into You, which is from the self-titled album. I believe that album came out in 2013. It's one of my favorites. As much as I love their heavier stuff, their louder stuff, I'm really into the upbeatness of that album, as well as the one with Hard Times. So right here I am cutting out a very different shape compared to the other Valentines. This one looks more like a thought bubble, which is what you kind of see in comics, and we're not going to make it identical to a thought bubble, but I thought since this card has a different sort of personality to it, that a unique cut instead of making a bunch of horizontal boxes would be way more appealing to the eye and just adorable. It really brings it to life too, because it almost looks like a cloud, which works out great because I have these teeny little butterflies that I printed out. I also found these images on Google. I pasted them into a Word document, and then I printed the size I needed and cut them out of it. Once again, I'm using Tacky Glue for the jewel that I'm putting on Hayley, just to give it a little pop at the corner there. Having multimedia can sometimes really bring life to it if done properly and not done in excess. That's one reason why I didn't end up putting the Fall Out Boy Valentine into the video playlist because I wasn't all that thrilled with the outcome, but it's still kind of fun and appropriate to have the pop punk trifecta. And one day I will do an MCR Valentine video, but this was just the start. So maybe next year I will do that. So as you can see, I've used Tacky Glue once again to secure the butterflies onto the 4x6, and now I am securing the quote, which will also be brushed out and then placed where it belongs. I've done a lot of speeding up in the videos because I realized that our other videos are just super long, so the less time I spend boring you all with, moving paintbrushes and poorly nail painting, I realize that my hands are not the most lovely right now, and elegant, but I mean, what can I say? So now that the butterflies have been placed, we are going to spread out some Mod Podge over them. So that's what that is on that brush. The Mod Podge has been on the blue handle brush. And so what I was using was the Mod Podge matte, I believe, or maybe it was the gloss. Either way, whatever effect you were going for, I highly recommend any Mod Podge. I definitely want this to have a more glossy look, so I do end up using the glossy Mod Podge on the entire image, so that it could kind of bring some life to it and make it shine. I didn't want it too flat because matte will make it a little flatter than the glossy, and since it's already a very sparkly backdrop, I thought it was appropriate. So here's the matte, the gloss. This is the gloss Mod Podge. And there we have it, pre-Mod Podge. Another added bonus of Mod Podging the entire product is that the image of Hayley Williams as well as the butterflies were printed on LaserJet, and while the text was also, it looks very flat compared to the other things. So by adding this glossy Mod Podge, it also just glosses that up as well, so it doesn't look so bland and dry, because it does look kind of dry and, pardon my French, a little half-assed when, we don't have that kind of coating on it to give it that shine that you're seeing. I'm pretty proud of this one. I think it's probably my most creative one yet. And yeah, so that's that. The cleanup was a pain in these post-Valentines, but here's your final product after everything is dried. I think she looks really great, really stellar. If you like these videos, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment, and follow our social media. Thanks so much, guys. Creep it real.